In episode 163, did you notice that Hong did not appear at the welcome party held for Luo Feng's return? In fact, Luo Feng and Lei Shen have been unable to contact Hong for nearly 100 years. As it turns out, Hong performed exceptionally well in the elite training camp and was ultimately selected by the Giant Axe Dojo as a core member with lowest rank, granting him a free opportunity to cultivate in Primal Chaos City for 30 years, a treatment equal to that of the Virtual Universe Company's core members. It is worth mentioning that the time flow between the beginning universe and the original universe differs by more than 3 times. To focus solely on cultivation, Hong chose to shut off communications from the virtual universe, which is why Luo Feng and Lei Shen have been unable to reach him for nearly 100 years. You might wonder, since core members work hard to pass the Heavenly Bridge not only to earn points but also to gain the opportunity to comprehend the Chaos Steel, why don't they head straight to Primal Chaos City after succeeding? The reason is simple: their free cultivation period in Primal Chaos City has already expired. Generally, universe-level core members can cultivate in Primal Chaos City for 30 years free of charge, Domain Masters for 300 years, and World Masters for 3,000 years. To extend their cultivation time, they must spend points, which are extremely valuable and difficult to part with. This is precisely why Luo Feng, Bolin, and others did not immediately head to the beginning universe after passing the challenges. Back to the plot. In episode 163, we learn that through Marquis Jinyu, Luo Feng successfully contacts King Longju, one of the 5 supervisors overseeing the debris trade in the starfield scrapyard. The so-called starfield scrapyard is actually a vast starfield used to collect various battlefield wreckages, and there are 9 such regions. Due to the fierce battles in the extraterritorial battlefield, countless losses result in large amounts of debris, such as Zerg remains, mechanical fragments, shattered weapons, and more. Don't be fooled by the term debris, these remnants hold significant value. For example, Zerg remains can be used by powerful beings to cultivate Zerg armies, while metal fragments are purchased cheaply by manufacturing companies to create ships or weapons. Additionally, these remains have substantial commercial and special use value. Therefore, these 9 major starfield scrapyards are entirely controlled by the 5 top human powers, with each power assigning a king immortal to oversee daily trade operations in each starfield. To prevent any single faction from dominating, the scrapyard has strict transaction limits. Once a single transaction reaches a set threshold, all 5 kings immortal must jointly approve it to safeguard collective interests. Conversely, as long as the deal does not exceed this limit, any of them can independently approve it. Fortunately, although Luo Feng needed a large amount of Zerg remains, the quantity fell within King Longju's approval range, saving Luo Feng from additional bureaucracy. Even better, King Longju was a member of the Virtual Universe Company. Upon learning that Luo Feng is the disciple of King Jinyan, he naturally offered secret assistance. When allocating Zerg remains, King Longju deliberately chose units with a higher proportion of high-grade Zerg remains for Luo Feng, thus giving him a personal favor. In fact, high-grade Zerg warriors are often 10, 100, or even 1,000 times stronger than their lower-grade counterparts. Using high-grade Zerg remains to help Irina breed Zerg warriors would significantly reduce the needed resources compared to using low-grade remains. Had King Longju wanted to make things difficult, he could have selected units with mostly damaged or low-grade Zerg remains, forcing Luo Feng to spend more resources to assemble his million-strong Zerg army. Fortunately, Luo Feng, claiming to be purchasing Zerg remains for an immortal friend, avoided suspicion. After all, no one would believe that a warrior who appeared to be only at Domain Master level 9 could enslave a Zerg queen. It's important to note that the Zerg queen's unique soul makes it difficult even for a World Master level golden horned beasts to control. Without Luo Feng inheriting the Divine General's legacy and using secret enhancement techniques, he could have been enslaved instead. Once the quantity and price of the Zerg remains were agreed upon, Luo Feng set off for the scrapyard to meet King Longju. After completing the payment, King Longju dispatched 2 World Master level subordinates to guide Luo Feng aboard a spaceship to a designated area where he could select the best units of Zerg remains. After all, the starfield is as vast as an entire universe country, and traveling by physical flight alone would take an impractical amount of time. However, while Luo Feng was busy preparing to build his million-strong Zerg army, he failed to notice that a deadly crisis was quietly approaching. A Zerg spy who had been monitoring Luo Feng on Earth had already reported his departure. With the Zerg's powerful intelligence network and analytical capabilities, they may not have been able to pinpoint his exact location, but narrowing down his general area and searching within it was still easy. As Luo Feng completed his transaction in the scrapyard, the Zerg spies lurking there quickly pinpointed his location. This became the perfect opportunity for the Zerg to assassinate him. The reason is that, according to the scrapyard's rules, no immortal level beings are allowed to enter the starry area where goods are stored. Even Immortal-level buyers must dispatch World Master level or lower subordinates to complete the collection under the supervision of the staff. The core purpose of this rule is to prevent theft. Recall that, after breaking through to the Immortal level, a warrior's internal world transforms into a divine kingdom, allowing them to instantly teleport away using the unique power of a divine kingdom. Although the scrapyard's debris may be damaged and of low individual value, if one were to collect enough of it, the total value would be immense, which enough to tempt even immortals into taking the risk of looting a vast amount of materials and escaping via instant divine kingdom teleportation. It should be noted that even with a universe venerable guarding the starfield scrapyard, it is impossible for them to constantly divide their attention, using their divine power to sweep across the vast void space and monitor every corner at all times. By the time a theft is discovered, the thieving immortal would have long vanished without a trace. Some might wonder, if that's the case, couldn't a world master commit the theft? The answer is yes, but it's not worth it. After all, the inner worlds of human world masters usually have diameters around 10,000 kilometers, far smaller than those of space beasts, and can only store a limited amount of resources. More importantly, before stealing, the world master would have to kill all accompanying staff, otherwise the theft couldn't be carried out. Without the ability to teleport using a divine kingdom, even if a world master were to fly at full speed for over 10 days, they would still struggle to escape the starfield scrapyard. Not to mention that with a universe venerable stationed here, even if information spreads slowly, it would be impossible for them to remain undetected for over 10 days. Once exposed, the universe venerable could instantly descend upon any corner of the starfield scrapyard, leaving the world master with no means of escape. Of course, to further reduce the risk of theft, aside from special cases like Luo Feng, who holds core member status in the primordial void space, ordinary world masters, and even many domain masters, are strictly forbidden from entering such sensitive areas. After all, a genius like Luo Feng, heavily invested in by the human race, would never trade his boundless future for some petty, short-term gain. It's important to understand that the resources and opportunities he stands to gain in the future far exceed the materials currently available for theft by dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of times. Only a fool would jeopardize their status and prospects as a core member of a superpower for a minor gain. Now the real question arises, how does all this relate to Luo Feng's safety? The key point is that the areas storing Zerg remains strictly forbid entry to immortal-level beings, which directly prevents Dylan from fully escorting Luo Feng, as Dylan himself is an immortal. This presents the Zerg with a golden opportunity for assassination. The Zerg immediately activated the strongest assassin they had planted within the starfield scrapyard. The assassin monitored Luo Feng in secret, completely unnoticed. As one of the starfield observers, he could easily use the intelligent surveillance system to track the real-time location of Luo Feng and his two guides. Once the target was locked, the assassin, under the pretense of claiming a treasure hunting benefit exclusive to junior staff, quietly left his post and headed straight for Luo Feng. He set a timed bomb at the planned ambush site, destroyed the monitoring device, and then disguised himself as if he encountered Luo Feng's group by chance. The two guides were completely off guard since treasure hunting are a legitimate perk granted by the upper management to the lower ranks. However, what appeared to be a reasonable act immediately triggered Luo Feng's suspicion. The reason was simple: when the timed bomb exploded and the monitor was destroyed, while such an event in the vast void space might go unnoticed by most, but the sudden disappearance of the surveillance signal was instantly detected by Babata, who immediately alerted Luo Feng. Moments later, the unsuspecting two guides were instantly killed by the assassin's ambush. The assassin then launched a deadly spiritual energy assault on Luo Feng, confident that his peak 9th rank world master power was enough to easily crush a peak 9th rank domain master. But the Zerg had no idea that Luo Feng's true body was a 6th rank world master golden horned beast, whose spiritual energy purity rivaled that of a 9th rank world master. Moreover, Luo Feng had the unbreakable protection of the life core. Even without active defenses, few world masters could breach it easily. However, Luo Feng did not wish to expose the terrifying nature of his life core, so he chose to easily neutralize the assassin's spiritual energy attack using the Tower of Void. He then counterattacked by controlling the Imoyun Vine and wielding the E9 grade laser gun. As the Imoyun Vine burst into its largest form, Luo Feng quietly had his Masha clan clone carry the life core and disguise itself as a vine leaf, stealthily slipping into the distant Zerg remains along with the vines. After all, the Zerg had never uncovered his secret of having a clone. No one would ever imagine that Luo Feng's true lifeline was hidden within a pile of debris far away. Although he wished to take this opportunity to test his own combat strength, Luo Feng remained calm, avoiding arrogance and recklessness. Only after ensuring the clone's safety did he attack without hesitation, launching a series of assaults with his human body. It is worth mentioning that at the World Master level 6, each main vine of the Emoyun vine was equivalent to a World Master level 8 powerhouse and possessed terrifying regenerative abilities where ordinary World Masters could not inflict any substantial damage to it. With over 200 vines striking simultaneously, the assassin was completely suppressed, barely able to fight back. His attacks couldn't even keep up with the Emoyun vine's regeneration speed. To make matters worse, Luo Feng controlled the Emoyun vine and suddenly fired the laser gun in sync. Trapped by the vines, the assassin couldn't fully dodge the shots. However, faced with the powerful body of a peak World Master level 9, although the laser gun inflicted severe injuries, it still wasn't enough to kill him on the spot. Just as Luo Feng believed victory was within his grasp, an unexpected terrifying aura suddenly descended. The reason this assassin was hailed as the strongest infiltrator the Zerg had planted in the starfield scrapyard wasn't because of his own peerless strength, but because a Immortal level assassin was hidden within his inner world. In an instant, a blazing domain of fire laws erupted, with scorching heat sweeping in all directions. The Emoyun vine was instantly and thoroughly suppressed, with large portions of its vines reduced to ashes in the flames. The moment the Immortal level assassin revealed himself, Luo Feng immediately sent a series of distress messages to King Longju, trying to draw his attention. Upon receiving the distress emails, King Longju promptly prepared to intervene. However, due to anti-corruption measures, the Starfield scrapyard had long implemented a strict intelligent management system enforced by higher authorities. Its rules could not be overridden. Even as a King Immortal level powerhouse, King Longju was helpless. He could not disregard the system and forcibly enter the goods area, or else he would be directly attacked by the intelligence system. This was the limitation of the intelligence system, where it effectively prevented corruption but lacked the flexibility to adapt. Furthermore, even if King Longju defied the rules to rescue Luo Feng, his strength was insufficient to instantly arrive at the battlefield. The Starfield scrapyard was vast and almost boundless, and even with mastery over teleportation techniques, it was difficult to cross such an immense distance in a single step. Worse still, King Longju had only barely reached the King Immortal level and had yet to master teleportation. Relying solely on lightspeed flight, it would take him at least several days to reach Luo Feng's location. By then, the battle would likely already be decided. Thus, at this moment, all King Longju could do was helplessly wait as the intelligence system followed procedure to report the situation and request the stationed Universe Venerable to intervene. However, from system processing to message delivery to the Universe Venerable's arrival, this series of actions would take at least over a minute at best. In an Immortal level battle, even a single second could see multiple clashes, let alone over a full minute. In this fatal window of time, whether Luo Feng could survive until reinforcements arrived would depend entirely on his own desperate resistance. How will Luo Feng respond to this life and death crisis? Extra spoilers coming tomorrow. Stay tuned for the answer. Well, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching this video. Wish you a wonderful day.